Breaking news, U.S. Secret Service Assistant Director Tony Ornato has left the agency. This comes to us according to two sources, and it comes 2 months after the explosive testimony by former White House aide Cassidy Hutchinson. You'll remember she detailed what she was told was a heated exchange that Trump had with a Secret Service agent after his speech on January the 6th.
The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded, "Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Ornato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
So let's go to Whitney Wild, our colleague. She's out front live tonight in Washington. This is first on CNN reporting. It's significant, as Cassidy said in that testimony under oath, that it was Tony Ornato that recounted that episode in the Beast, in the motorcade between that Secret Service agent and the then president. So what more are you learning about why he's leaving?
Well, the circumstances of his departure are not clear, but what sources have told us is that this had been in the works a long time. He'd been talking about leaving the agency prior to Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony. He was eligible to retire in July. So it is not surprising, although the timing is obviously conspicuous. So many more questions to be answered about why today, why a Monday in August that he left. But Poppy, I think what is important to remember here is that this is coming at a time when the House Select Committee has made very clear that they think he is a very crucial witness to what happened leading up to January 6th, as well as Trump's mindset. Remember, they're always going for the mindset of the former president on January 6th. They very clearly think that he was crucial to that. Although Tony Ornato, according to Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony, was not in the limo at the time, he became irate when he learned that he would not be taken to the Capitol by his detail. He's still a very crucial figure. And remember, Poppy, his general reason for being at the White House is gaining greater scrutiny because he was in an unprecedented role. He was still, in some ways technically an employee of the Secret Service, but he was on what was basically a detail to the White House as the deputy chief of staff. It was an unprecedented move to take a political role within the White House while still, in some ways, again, being with the Secret Service. He eventually left and became the assistant director. Now he's leaving, Poppy, but certainly a momentous shakeup over there.
For sure, and we'll remember there was quite the back and forth between the Secret Service, and Cassidy Hutchinson's testimony afterward. Whitney Wild, thanks very, very much. Out for now, Stephanie Grisham, former press secretary for then President Trump. She resigned the day of the deadly insurrection. And Olivia Troy, who was the Homeland Security and Counterterrorism advisor to then Vice President Pence, also a lifelong Republican. Well, thank you both. If we could just start with this breaking news just into CNN. Olivia, let me begin with you. I mean, how significant do you think it is that Tony Ornato is leaving the Secret Service at this moment when the January 6th committee clearly wants more testimony from him, likely public?
Yeah, I think the timing is suspect and certainly interesting. I wonder what this means. He'll be a private citizen, and what does this mean going forward as the committee hearings start up again? I actually think it's probably best for the Secret Service that Tony Ornato is leaving. He certainly brought a lot of disgrace and shame to the people who work there, who are great people of law enforcement that I've gotten to know. And so, I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And I'm also very curious to see where his future employment will be.
Stephanie, one thing our viewers should know is that Ornato actually met with the January 6th committee. This was, albeit behind closed doors, and the committee, Zoe Lofgren and others, have made it clear. They believe that he, is a key figure in all of this who could, as Whitney just reported, really shed light on the president's mindset on the day of the insurrection and his, desire to be taken in the Capitol after that speech. How critical do you think it is that this committee hear from him?
Oh, I think it's vital that the committee hears from him. I think it would be vital that the public could hear from him, although I think that won't happen. And certainly now that he's leaving the Secret Service, it was my understanding they were going to cooperate, albeit that hasn't happened yet. When I spoke to the January 6th committee, I said over and over that Tony Ornato is a key person to know exactly what was going on. As Deputy Chief of Staff for Operations, you know everything that's going on logistically, behind the scenes, but also politically. You just kind of have to. So I think this timing is interesting. And I'm going to echo Olivia that I think it'll be very, very interesting to see what he does next, where he goes, who he works for.